Hello, welcome to the second tutorial on augmented sixth chords. So this time I want to show you how the augmented sixth chord can fit into larger progressions. Again, it's always going to function as a dominant prep chord leading to a structural dominant of some sort. But the voice leading can follow patterns that you're familiar with and are very characteristic. So, for instance, let's look again at a generic or a familiar diatonic progression. So here it is, an expansion of 4 through a voice exchange. So this can be intensified by making the chromatic adjustment. So you have the voice exchange, la, sol in the bass, and la, sol, fa, sol in the soprano. So if you make the adjustments, now again, in the previous tutorial we looked at just minor. Now I'm deliberately looking at major. So you have to make 2 chromatic adjustments. So fa, sol, la, sol, and la, sol, fi, fi, sol. And then of course when you do that, you've got to do something else with this F. You can't just leave a doubled F sharp, don't double the altered tone. So you can either go down and double the do, make it an Italian 6. So let's go ahead and change that. You can make any variety of them. One of them, that doubling the do requires a leap. If you can avoid the leap altogether, move by step, make it a French, go to Re. So the mi, fa, mi, re, re. Let's listen to that. It's the French 6/4/3. Or you can take mi, fa, mi, me, re. And that makes the German. So all versions are available. This one's perhaps the easiest. It requires the least movement. But that one, of course, results in that perfect fit, the parallel perfect fifths. So let's make the normal adjustment and make it a cadential 6/4. Now, when that happens, in the major, you move the me up to the mi. So you go back to the, so you get an interesting voice leading. Let's listen to that. So it really functions, this me, instead of leading directly to re, moves back up to mi. It's like a chromatic lower neighbor, or an intense double neighbor, really, when you go back to this mi fa, around the mi fa mi, and sometimes it's spelled like a lower neighbor, like D sharp. Mi fa mi re, like that. Exact same actual sounding pitches, but it's spelled different, and it's spelled like the voice leading. Sometimes this is called the augmented, the doubly augmented fourth. It's really, it sounds as a perfect fifth. You might run into it once in a while. If ever you write it, I would encourage you just to write it as the E flat, because then it becomes a normal looking German 6 chord. But sometimes you will run into that, to it spelled as re instead of me. It's the same chord though. It's very interesting. Listen here, let me put it back down to the re and just kind of listen to that alto as you listen to the whole progression. So, and let's go back just for comparison's sake and treat it as if it were in minor. And just leave it as may, and then the suspended contention 6/4. Has a different feel to it. Okay. Now let's look at another example. The contention 6/4 in this same kind of context as a. By the way, they call this chromaticized voice exchange. So, and you can understand why. So the fas, the la sol fas, la sol fi now, and the fa sol la becomes fa sol la. You can take this chord, this expansion, and apply it to, say, just a one chord. So, which of course you're all familiar with as a voice exchange. So here below I have a progression, a simple expansion of one with the do, ti, do, re, mi in the bass. Let's just listen up. This is for old time's sake. I think I've actually, it's not a passing 6/4 here. I'm going to put that passing 6/4 down here. We'll call it what it is right now, the 7/6. Okay, so now what if I pulled such a stunt here with the expansion of one with the voice exchange and made it a chromaticized voice exchange? So I had do, re, mi, and then I had mi, re, D, and now I would create, and let's say now let's take out that 7/6, put in a passing 6/4, basically treating it exactly like I did this expansion of 4 up here. So in that case, instead of fa, I would put sol. Everything else would be basically the same. And let's, well, here, I'll just leave it like that. This would be a French 6. Now, if I do that, then I feel like I'm gonna. This is when you have an applied, when you have an augmented 6 chord, it wants to lead to a dominant. So this is a great way of affecting a modulation. What key are we modulating to? Well, we're modulating to the key of the dominant, because this chord that we're leading to is by definition got to be a 5. The chord that follows the augmented 6 chord is a dominant. So this is a dominant in the key, here's the D major chord, it's dominant in the key of G. So the French 6 is in the key of G. So we can think of, well, where's the pivot here? Well, up until this point, there's really no reason to think, up to the 4th beat of this first bar, there's no reason to think you're in any key but the key of C major. But when you hit this augmented 6 chord, you're retched out of that key. So let's listen to the whole progression. In fact, let me go ahead and finish the whole progression. It's a little low here, but so this is a very efficient way of modulating to tonicizing the dominant. This is a very common strategy It's not often done with this efficiently. It's usually done over a longer period of time. But of going from modulating to the key of the dominant by transforming the original one chord, in some ways thinking of it, we can go ahead and think of it as a 4 that's a common pivot in the new key. And then through the transformation into the augmented 6th chord, feeling the strong motion now at the key of G, no longer in the key of C. So now that augmented 6th chord really destroys the sense of the original tonic. And I feel, by the end of this short phrase, I feel solidly in the key of the dominant. So this is an intense way of modulating. And usually when this happens, it's not just a little tonicization of the dominant. It really is a true modulation. And you're going to stay there for a while. So, right, those are two interesting ways that augmented 6th chords are approached are created via chromaticized voice exchanges. One within the original key as an expansion of 4. The other one as part of an expansion of 1 or transformation of 1 into the augmented 6th chord into the key, the new key of the dominant. Okay,